At about 2:20 this afternoon, on the 2800 block of West Atkinson, two of our plainclothes officers observed a group of 10 individuals, men and women, standing on a street corner. Suddenly, an individual left a vehicle with an assault rifle in his hand and approached the group. Without warning, he opened fire. Subsequently, we would recover over a dozen shell casings in the area. Two individuals were struck, one man, one woman. Our understanding is the male's wounds are more serious than the woman's wounds. Both are being treated at the hospital. The individual fled the scene in a vehicle, which was followed by our officers as they radioed for police assistance. As we got to 3900 block of North 25th Street, the individual pulled over his car and confronted the officers and fled. He fled through several backyards. The pursuit lasted over 2 blocks to the 3900 block of North 27th Street. There he was arrested after a police canine bit him on the arm and the leg. He was subsequently transported to the hospital where he is receiving medical treatment. The two officers who observed this and followed the individual without regard for their personal safety, confronting him on the street here, were Officers Brian Brousseau and Detective Eric Donaldson. They are to be commended for their quick and timely action. A 48-year-old man is under arrest. We are not going to identify him at this time, but that would be his rap sheet. I have with me Detective Bob St. Ange. The 30-round banana clip is in the trunk of his car. The weapon has been cleared, but this is the military assault-style weapon that this convicted felon had when he decided to spray the street with bullets. Mercifully, only 2 people were shot. We didn't have a mass murder. And fortunately, because of these officers' alertness and dedication, he is in custody. And obviously, the investigation will continue. I'm going to take a few questions, obviously. I can't go too much in any more details of this case.
Is this the kind of weapon that you were testifying about yesterday as well?
Well, this is absolutely the kind of weapon we were talking about yesterday.
Do you know what prompted it, what triggered the encounter?
We have no idea. No altercation was observed. This individual, apparently with determination and prior thought, exited his vehicle with this weapon and opened fire without warning. We obviously will continue an investigation to see what else might have been connected to this incident.
When you say he confronted the officers, what did he say something? Did he?
My understanding is he recognized that they are officers and immediately began to flee. No, he did not have the weapon in his hands at that time. That would be recovered from the vehicle.
I think this obviously sort of plays upon your testimony yesterday, which generated a lot of national attention, headlines, particularly for your encounter with Senator Graham. Do those headlines, does that sort of national coverage help or hinder you?
I think the important point for most Americans is to understand that this issue is not a theoretical issue. This neighborhood has to live with too much violence. And one of the reasons it does is because criminals are able to gain access to high capacity, high quality firearms, including assault weapons. It's a danger to the entire community. This community is dangerous. Because of that, our officers have to exercise great courage to confront these challenges. But every day, people who live in this city have to live with the slow motion mass murder that these weapons bring to the streets of urban America. And as I say, it's not a theoretical discussion at all once we get to the street level. It's real, and it's something that something can and should be done about.
You're in the forefront now with this after testifying yesterday. You've got Sheriff Clark on the other end of it, 180 degrees from your point. How difficult does that make it for your job here with having another person that high up being so opposite to your point of view?
Well, there's an important issue here. I guess the simplest way to answer that question about the sheriff and I is this. The sheriff is an elected politician. He says the kinds of things elected politicians need to say in order to draw attention to themselves and to perhaps, get votes. My job is law enforcement. My job is problem solving. we've got a problem. It's too many firearms in the hands of criminals in the streets of urban America, and I want us to take some practical steps to solve it. I'll leave the rhetoric to Dave. I'd like to leave the action to the police departments who have to confront this issue every day.
Any concerns about the fact that a guy with a rap sheet that long is out on the street?
Well, obviously we're going to, look at all the dimensions of this. I mean, I don't have any doubt he's been convicted several times, and I'm sure he served some prison time. And there's a whole range of problems we've got to deal with. But at the end of the day, we've got a circumstance in which high-quality military-style weapons are available fairly easily and too easily fall into the hands of criminals. That's something for which there are practical solutions available, and those are solutions that need to be sought at the national level. I was gratified to hear today that the governor appears to support the idea of closing the gun show loophole, and I would certainly commend him for that. I think other things need to be done as well, but certainly a fine beginning would be universal background checks before firearms are bought by anybody.
Have you done a check on this weapon yet?
It's just fallen into our hands. We'll have to do we'll have to go to ATF for that assistance.
You talk about background checks. You said this person is a convicted felon. He would have probably got his hands on this gun.
Well, one of our problems is that very many of our high quality weapons fall into the hands of criminals through either straw purchases or are bought in circumstances that don't require background checks. Right now, you can go to a gun show or a private sale and you do not need a background check. Approximately 40% of the guns in this country change hands every year without a background check. So we don't know how he got the gun. He may well have bought it from a friend, and that transaction did not have to go through a licensed gun dealer, and no background check was required.
How frustrated are you this happened 24 hours after you're testifying?
Well, I mean, I'm not frustrated and I'm not surprised. The point I was trying to make yesterday that for senators, this is a theoretical argument full of hypothetical examples. For the police chiefs of urban America, let me make this thing very clear. The International Association of Chiefs of Police, the Police Executive Research Forum, and the Major City Chiefs Association all endorse these proposals. This isn't just me coming up with some ideas. Every major city chief in America backs these solutions. So for us, it's not theoretical, and that's the point. Coming here today is simply an example of showing you and showing anybody else who's interested that in Milwaukee this is a real issue and it requires practical solutions.